York's classic rock, Q1043.
As many of you know, I've been active in the 9/11 community for a good 15 years. And I was shocked the other week when I learned about this new project that I had heard nothing about because I thought I knew everything that was happening in the 9/11 community. And what I am about to introduce to most of you, because most of you probably haven't heard as well, is the 9/11 National Memorial Trail. And with me is the man who put it together, David Brickley, along with Virginia Representative Don Beyer. How did I not know about this, gentlemen?
We've got a lot going on.
Tell us about it.
Well, I'll certainly defer to our congressman first because he's a great congressman and a wonderful supporter of trails and greenways and infrastructure.
Well, I'm going to defer back in a second, though. But Shelley, I've been privileged to know David Brickley for almost 40 years. He was one of the leaders of the Virginia General Assembly for many, many years and chaired the big committees on health and insurance. But when he left the General Assembly, he went to take over the Virginia Park System, which is a beautiful system. It mirrors the national park system. And so I think after the tragedy of 9/11, David got a unique idea based on his background and has pursued it diligently now for 20 years. So David, tell us about it.
Well, thank you, Congressman. And Shelley, thanks for bringing this to the forefront. It's certainly important for everyone. And the idea is we can never forget what happened on 9/11. We need to talk about that resilience, that perseverance of America. And we've got a new generation that was born after 9/11. So we had a multi-state governors conference on greenways and trails and blueways set for September the 16th through the 19th of 2001, just several blocks south of the Pentagon. We knew what happened on 4 or 5 days earlier. The question was, do we have the conference or not? But we had a governor's call among the different governors participating, and we agreed to go ahead and do it. At the end of the conference, I suggested that we've got to find a way to merge our love of trails and greenways in the outdoors with this horrendous event that happened. And so that started the September 11th National Memorial Trail. It connects the three 9/11 sites, the National 9/11 at the World Trade Center, the Pentagon Memorial to the south, and to the west, the Flight 93 Memorial. It's almost a perfect triangle. And we got all kinds of volunteers, all kinds of supporters together, and we established this route. You can look at it interactive right now. It goes right to the National 9/11 Memorial. If you're coming from the west, you take the ferry across from Liberty State Park if you want to get over there. And it has just blossomed so very much, in large part to great people like Congressman Beyer and Congressman Connolly. And I would say that your former Congressman Pete King was and is a great supporter. So we are working together. And why it's becoming to the forefront now is that we are having legislation sponsored by Congressman Beyer, Congressman Fitzpatrick from Pennsylvania, and Congressman Connolly to go ahead and move forward and have a national recognition of this as part of the National Park Service.
Where can people go online so they can actually see this trail? Because it's just fascinating.
www.911trail.org has everything on it that you need.
Are there actually organized trips so the people can become part of a trip and do this together? Because one of the things I love about this is that you are in nature. You are in harmony with nature. You are in the quiet when you are reflecting on the tragedy that we are about to commemorate for the 20-year anniversary. It's such an important time. It's so important not to forget. But I love that this is in nature.
And the good news, Shelley, is you can walk it, you can bike it. David has put together this unique, I think it's 1,300 miles, by patching together a variety of existing trails. I think, David, maybe only 5 or 10% is actually brand new trails. And I would expect that as you see on the Appalachian Trail or the Haute Route in Switzerland, that outdoor organizations will be bringing people together to do some of it, all of it. You know, so many young people will go hike the whole Appalachian Trail when they get through college. Maybe now they'll do the 9/11 Trail instead.
I'm just wondering, has the word really gotten out about this, or is this a secret to most that we just, because like I said, I was not aware. Certainly I'm aware of all of the memorials, in Shanksville, in New York City, but I was not aware of this.
Well, I guess we just need, first of all, to do a better job, and people like you, Shelley, can spread the word. We've gotten great support from the states, all of the states. You've got six states involved and the District of Columbia. Wonderful support from our communities, from our local legislators. On Friday, we are actually having the ribbon cutting for the first section of a new trail connecting what's called the C&O Canal and the Great Allegheny Passage right to Flight 93. And that's a 21-mile section. And this will be a new trail, and you'll be able to literally go walking or cycling or even driving, as the congressman said, to be able to go right from Flight 93 right on down to the Pentagon Memorial, and don't even have a traffic light except for maybe just in DC itself. So this is going very well, and literally I can't thank you enough for having your interest being shown here and supporting it in the New York City area.
Is the whole trail marked so that you know exactly where it is you were supposed to go?
No, it is not marked. It is being marked in Pennsylvania right now. That is one of our goals, to have it marked. There are places in the other states where they're working on marking. But as the congressman said, this new section that we're doing right now near Flight 93 is a completely new trail, but all of the rest is a merging, an overlay of other trails. South of New York City, you've got the D&L Trail. We've got the C&O Canal Trail going through Maryland and Pennsylvania. And so it's all together, tied in, unbroken chain of 100 or 300 miles. And over 50% of it is actually off-road now, taking advantage of these National Park Service trails, these local and state trails all merged together, and being able to tell the story of 9/11.
I am speaking this morning with David Brickley and Virginia Representative Don Beyer about the 9/11 National Memorial Trail, which you can do by foot, you can do by bicycle, but this is connecting all of the 9/11 memorials in New York City, in Shanksville, and in DC, Virginia. Congressman, I'm going to put you on the spot here because I know your heart is in the right place. And this is something that's been troubling me for a long time as a 9/11 activist. Okay, the government did the right thing and set up the World Trade Center health program so that first responders who were there and people who lived there and people who worked there and went to school there and are now coming down with cancer and respiratory illnesses. And we've lost thousands already, and we're going to continue to lose more. But the Zadroga Act that was passed, that went into law in 2011, finally, protects these people. And then we have the Victim Compensation Fund, again, doing the right thing. For the next 70 years, it is in place to provide compensation to the families of those who lost their lives and those who have these 9/11 illnesses. My question is this. So the government did the right thing, but people don't know about it. They're not connecting the dots to their serious illnesses and their cancers to 9/11 because it was almost 20 years ago. And when you get skin cancer, you just think you got skin cancer. You don't think that skin cancer is the number one 9/11 cancer. Okay, so I've thought about this a lot because this has been my whole thing, is this outreach to find this community, which by the way is 400,000 people, the size of the city of Tampa. Okay, we're talking about a lot of people whose health is at risk. So my thought was, thinking the way I do, if I owed money to the IRS, they would find me, right? Why on earth can our government not find and get in touch with everyone who is at risk? Am I not making sense? Is this a possibility? Does this make sense to you, Congressman?
Shelley, it does. And I think, as with so many long-term illnesses, you're right. We often have trouble connecting the result to the initial cause. But with something like 9/11, that was so dramatic. It was one day. And you know so well all the particulates that were in the air for weeks and weeks afterwards, the glass and the smoke and just terrible things. Perhaps one way to do it would be to parallel what the United States military is trying to do right now, by training doctors and nurses to say, to automatically, especially like in the northeastern part of the United States, but really everywhere, and say, when diagnosed with anything, where were you on 9/11? A simple question. And if it turns out that they were in New York, New Jersey, whatever, on 9/11, or maybe near the Pentagon, that then they would qualify for a different kind of treatment or a different kind of support.
Well, how does that get done? Because right now it's not getting done. I can tell you this as a breast cancer survivor who got my treatment at a hospital that has the World Trade Center health program. I went through this huge questionnaire, of risk factors, but not once was I asked, where were you on 9/11?
Yeah, and I think we probably need to turn first to the American Medical Association, and then to the emergency doctors and the internal medicine doctors. One of the places where we've seen a lot of success is in suicide prevention. Right now, ER doctors and nurses are terrific at saying, David, are you thinking about hurting yourself or hurting other people? My last 2 emergency room visits for the knuckleheaded things I do, I was asked repeatedly whether I intended to kill myself. And I was like, thank you so much for asking me that, because you are going to be able to prevent people, because you can interact. People will tell you the truth. Now they just need to add that other question, which is, where were you on 9/11? And could this be related to that?
Because a lot of the people are no longer in this area. It's almost 20 years later. The kids who were 4 are 24. They don't have a clue. This is why they have colon cancers. This is why they have breast cancer. They're all over the country. But anyway, I love your thoughts. Thank you for sharing. We only have a couple of minutes left. What else would you like to impart to our audience that we have not touched on? David Brickley and Virginia Representative Don Beyer.
Well, I'd like just to ask everyone to look at our website, 911trail.org. It is a great website. We need to get more people involved, especially in the New York City area, because this is the epicenter. And we've got a great group. Well, we've got people like Tim Brown.
Oh, I know Tim.
I know Tim has been a great supporter, and of course, firefighter who was there right
Hero.
on that day.
Yeah.
He's part of our group. Russ Nee, who's a volunteer fire department out of New Jersey, Morristown, was with the Park Commission, and he's on our board, and he listens to your show all the time.
Oh, thank you.
So the idea is to keep people involved, and we'd love to be able to have our goal, by the way, with Congressman Beyer's tremendous leadership, is to have federal legislation designating the 9/11 trail as a part of the National Park Service. It's House Resolution 2278. What a better time than on the 20th anniversary to have President Biden sign it into legislation. And it can be done the way it's structured. There's no real cost to the federal government, the National Park Service at all. We've got a model to use based on the woman's historical monument up in Seneca Falls, New York on voting. And so just get involved, get our supporters involved, and understand that there is a synergy between recreation and trails and greenways and the outdoors and what happened on that horrific day 20 years ago.
I'm so sorry. We are out of time. If you missed any part of this, download the iHeart Radio app. It is free. My podcast, which basically reruns this show, is called Sonstein Sessions. And I'll see you guys tomorrow morning on the Jim Kerr Rock and Roll Morning Show, Q104.3.
New York's classic rock, Q104.3.